So today we will discuss about savable data pages in Pega. What are savable data pages? What is the significance? When it will be used? And how it will be used? Okay. So all of you must have gone through what are data pages, right? Data pages are used to retrieve data from some source. Source could be report definition, lookup, some integration, aggregated source, and etc. etc. Right? But the main purpose is it will call some source, it will get the data to the clipboard, and then we can reference that data in our cases, right? And then we have multiple configurations. It could be single, it could be page list, thread, scope we can define, editable will be or not editable, like that, read only, all those settings. Now in data pages as well, we have one more category, savable data pages. So it will be a data page rule only. There will be only one configuration available on that. Okay. So now what are savable data pages? So let me take an example. Okay. Let me take an example. So let's create a data type. Okay. Everyone know what's a data type, right? So let me create customer record. Okay. So we have customer record, right? And suppose there are 4 columns, let's say. First is ID. Okay, which is an integer just for my primary key purpose. I'm keeping it. Then we have name. Okay. I'm just taking an example. Then we have address. And let's suppose we have phone number. Okay, so now we have a class, data class of name customer record, which is having this properties. So this is class and these are the properties available under this class. Let me create one dedicated div table to it. Okay, and what will be the key? This is the key. Submit. All right, guys. So these are the columns that were created. Okay, and if I go check the details, so this is the table mapping rule in Pega, responsible for mapping the class and the database table. No, this one is data mapping rule, and this is the dedicated table in the DB. Okay, this is report definition to select queries, default report definition. This is single page to get a single record based on the primary key. This is list, get the list of all the records. And if you see here, we have one more category, savable data pages, right? So let's quickly close this. And let me add some records. Okay, so we have customer 1, okay, whose address is sector Wara Chandigarh maybe, and his name is ABC. And we have one more customer who lives in sector 1 maybe, and his XYZ. Let's keep it consistent. We have customer 3. Anything. Okay. So now you see we have one table. So how we can check the database information. This is the table, right? This class is mapped to this table. So we have a table and we have 3 rows in that table. Correct. Now you see the phone number is empty currently. Okay. So suppose for some reason some data is empty, or maybe phone number could be there. Okay, so it will be a very basic requirement to have a workflow. Okay, and in particular screen, I will fetch some data based on some ID. Maybe I'll put a drop down for ID. Okay, and I will select, if I select 1, this data will be fetched to the case. If I select 2, this data will be fetched. This we have already done, right? So suppose he selected 1 and this data is fetched. Okay, so apart from name, I can give the option to basically these fields are editable as well to the case lifecycle itself. Okay, and then he processes. So suppose if I he has updated the phone number. Okay, so there could be requirement that I have to update this local storage as well, this table, right? So for that purposes, we have data savable data pages to update the tables as well. Okay, you getting it? So suppose I clicked selected one and I have shown him these details and he updated everything. Maybe from ABC he has written Mandeep, from address he has written maybe Chennai, and updated phone number as well. So to commit that data back to DB, we have savable data pages. Okay, otherwise what we were doing, we were fetching the data and we were using one work level single page property. Okay, and what it was doing is basically copying the data from here to there. So it was getting saved to DB, but it was residing in the scope of case lifecycle itself. I mean, if leave one has created, so that data that he's updating was for that specific case only, and not for the DB. So how to update DB using savable data pages? I mean, there are multiple ways, but one easier way could be savable data pages. Okay, so when I configure this source, I go to this sources maybe. So you see we have 3 data pages available. So these 2 we have already discussed. This will be single page, which can be used to get a single record, basically single row based on the primary key. Okay, so this is a page and the source is lookup. Okay, I will pass the primary key parameter ID. I will pass the parameter and it will get me one customer basically. This is list. I'm reiterating just so that everyone is on the same page, and if someone has missed it, he can also make sense out of it. So this is a list. By default, it is list, and the source is report definition. And inside this default report definition, what Pega has done is select column this, comma column this. Select these all columns from the table which this class is mapped to, where no filter, basically without where. So select star from this table. All the rows will be fetched if I start using this report and with the combination of this data page of type list, right? Now we have savable customer record as well. So this is a data page. See, data page, data page, data page. All these rules are data page only, correct? Main difference lies in the configuration. Okay, so this is of type list. Wait a second, I close this. This is of list. These are of page, right? So major difference is this, what the structure will be. Okay, and from where do we configure? It will be savable here, mode, read only, editable, savable. So this was your assignment homework. What is the difference between these two? Okay, this I'll tell today. Anyone have any idea what is read only and what is editable? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Vishal, tell me.
Yes, if you have a selected the read only, so only you can read the all pages, not editable. And if you are selecting the editable, so you can edit in future, like any updating the anything, so you can update it. And third one is you have selected one more option.
Savable, we will discuss.
Yes.
But I mean, your understanding is clear, but something is missing in the explanation. We will cover that one later. Okay. So for now, let's see what is savable. Okay. So how this savable data page, basically what it is saying, structure is page. Okay. Single page will be there. So basically, if I commit this back to DB, one record will be committed, right? Only page, right? Page can have only one instance. After that, this is scope. Scope we already discussed, right? This is the object it is mapped to, and savable. So when we select savable, right, you see we will get this new configuration here. Database save options. Like how do you want me to save the data to database? Because saving also can be done in multiple ways. Like you have source here, right? How to source? So same way, I can save as well. I can save the list structure as well, but then that will have different configuration. This section will be there, this section, but then options will be changed. So if I show you, let me select list. Now you see the source just changed. Now we have this much only. Okay, activity you have gone through with him, right? So we have to configure one activity, provide some specific steps, maybe obj save or uh, obj save with right now, maybe something like that. Right now we can skip as well. This one you can avoid for now. Connector. So the scope of today's session, we will check with single record only. Page, and with page setting, the data save option would be this. I mean, there are more. Database save is added. Okay. After that, we have to mention which class I want to save into. So I want to save into same class. Yes, Robin.
You're recording the lecture?
Yes, Robin.
Okay.
Okay. So you see, this data source column is still there. Okay. So what will happen is when you reference this data page, right? So Pega will come. Pega will see how to get the data first of all on this data page. So for that, I've kept lookup. Okay. So what it will do, I will pass primary key. It will get me data. Okay. After that, if I want to put some manipulation after loading the data on the data page, I will configure one response data transform. Okay, then I can put some post configurations. Okay, and to use this feature, save data data save option, we have one utility on the flow, like we have add child case, approval shape, like that, right? So there we have one utility to save the data page, save data page option, something like that. So that we have to use, and then whenever that utility will be called, Pega will automatically use this option, whatever is configured here, to commit the data back to DB based on the data that is already present on this page. Okay, so suppose initially I have used this data page, okay, and I selected one record, it get me one record. So what it will get me? Suppose I use this, so it will get me one empty this thing and this thing. Then I can put some manipulation, maybe I can take input from the user, okay, or anything else. Then I will basically update content on this page itself. Okay, this page, I will update the content, the properties. And then whenever the utility will be triggered on the flow, then Pega data will be committed back to DB and this record will be updated. Okay, got it, right? So let's save. Okay, so no changes there, right? So I can discard, I think. Yes.
Mandeep sir, Vivek here. One question.
Yes.
Can you just show from the start from where how you proceed to do this?
No. I'll explain
just
this again.
quickly means it. Just,
Okay. So currently, actually, I was just I did nothing new. I created one data type of name customer record. Okay, then it will create a class, right? Like this. Then I added some properties basically inside this model. Okay, then I have a structure class with some properties, right? Then what I did, I just created source. So configure source. I have to click just one button, select the primary key. It will create a dedicated DB table for this class. Okay. Then I just inserted some record. Okay, so by default, Pega will give us some data pages, right, to be used for this data model to get the data. So these two we already discussed, single page, list page. Today we are discussing savable. And there is a difference between these two and this, because these are just for the retrieving purpose. This can commit back also.
yes.
Okay, and this configuration is here basically. Mode savable. Okay. If I don't use savable, if I change this, and let's check out for now, the save options will not even be there. You see, data source, post activity, and the form is ending here. But if I make it,
how did you went to the savable option? That's what actually I wanted to.
No. It basically, first of all, configured it by default. But on every data page, okay, if you click here, it will get you savable also. It will be there. Yes. So if you click savable. So, see, save options will be enabled. Like how do you want to commit back to DB? Okay. These options we can discuss later. Activity, you have to write an activity with logic. Connector, some external service could be used. And today the scope is database save. So we will see this, how this configuration can be used to update data in the data tables or database tables, you can say. Right, guys? So now we have one page configured. Let's try to use this page in our case lifecycle. So I'll quickly create one case lifecycle. Let me, oh my God, okay. Let's add. Okay, so for this, I'm writing update customer record. Right, I open this, fine, right. Oh, development branch. Why should I have taken this? ठीक है, it is fine. Anyhow, okay, so I don't like using this first stage actually. No, this is a form step, right? By default, Pega, I don't know why, but they made this first stage to be used as a screen flow. I do not want to use this. I'll start with second stage directly. Okay, I don't want this shape. Right, although I can put logic here as well, not an issue. Value cannot be blank. Fine, I'll put something. Update customer. Okay, let's take some UI. Okay, so, let's keep it same. Capture customer, update customer is fine. Details I can put. Customer details, USTONAR. Right, and I do save. So whenever I do save, okay, so it is saved. Okay, so I can check this flow. If I click here, everyone must be knowing it. We can click here and it will open up the flow. So this is our flow. Okay, so if you want to put UI, where it will be on the flow action. Okay, so if I open this flow action, so when I save the case lifecycle, flow actions I think are automatically getting created. Okay, in Pega, but UI we need to create, right? So this flow action is there, right, in the system. So if I open it, oh, it is not there. How come? Anyhow, I mean, either I can create flow action and then section as well, and then everything will be fine, right? Or I think we can also do on the case lifecycle. Okay, I click here, update customer details. Okay, so everyone must be knowing we can configure the view directly here as well, right? Add fields, right? That will create properties in the backend. It will map to the UI itself. But if I don't put any field, okay, but I click submit, so what will happen? I think it will create all the rules without the properties, like flow action and section. Okay. This one, right? So again, if I open the flow action, sorry, flow, okay, and then open this flow action, open flow action. So see, now flow action is created and even the section is created. Although section would be empty by default because I did not map any property to it, right? So this is just, I was just showing this as a handy shortcut that you can also use. I mean, if you want to avoid creating flow action and section by yourself, okay, because you have learned how to do that. So now we can, try to reduce the work as well because you know underlying rules, right? First, we need to see how everything is getting created, how mapping are being done, and then we can try to use the shortcuts. When we are comfortable here as well, then we can switch to App Explorer as well and reduce more work, right? So, okay. So here, let's quickly configure an UI. Okay, Hmm. Checkout. Okay. So what I will do, I will just try to fetch customer record first of all, and then I will, give one custom field to update the phone number, and on click of submit, I will try to update the phone number to DB. Okay, clear, right? So I mostly prefer inline grid double. Let's take it inline grid double. Okay, so let's say I want to take a drop down. Okay, and on the drop down, I just want to keep one property, customer ID. I will create this variable as integer. No, branch I don't want to use. Let's take it integer. Okay, save. So now we have this variable. Let's jump back to the UI. Let's keep it, please select customer. So currently we have not gone through anything new. I'm just reiterating everything like we have done in the data pages, all that. So to show the customers in a drop down, I'm using a property, then a source as a data page. Name of the data page is d underscore customer, I think something. US customer record, we have customer record list. I think this one would be list one. Okay, so why nothing is coming? Oh, sorry, everything is fine. For value, I want to keep ID in the background, and user won't be understanding ID, so I'll take name. So dropdown will show name, but in the background it will store ID in this variable. Got it? Okay, and on whenever he's changing, basically anything is getting changed. On change of this value of this variable, I want to basically do what? I want to refresh this whole section. Refresh the UI. Submit. Got it? Let's make it 100%. Presentation, custom, 100%. Submit. Okay. Let's take one more dynamic layout. Let's make it inline grid double. Okay, let's try to embed one section, and I want to take it from the data page, not this class, it will be of this class. So what I'm trying to use this single page, okay, to show the UI, to fetch the UI and then display it on the UI. So what I'm doing, embedding one section using data page. Class we have to mention. If we mention class and click here and put down arrow key, it will show all the options, available options. Single record I want to use. Okay, parameter, which parameter should I be taking? So I can refer this like this. I'm already getting it from here, right? So by name, it will try to find this section in this layer now, data layer. So let's create one UI. Show customer details. Could be anything. Okay. No branch is okay. Let's quickly add some properties. I will add maybe ID I want to show. Okay. If I double click, put ID. As a label, let's try to keep it as apology for the background noise. Customer ID. Okay, this I want to show. After that, I want to show whatever we have. Let's show everything. Okay, and suppose after that, I want to show maybe name. Although name will be already getting captured there. Name fine. After that, I want to show maybe phone maybe, and after that address maybe. Right, guys. Okay, take it like this. So we have created one section in the data layer, and using this section on the UI now, using data page to show the details. Okay, so you have learned like how to do data relationship, right, in the App Explorer. So very similar configuration Pega do when you directly map the UI using the data model directly or from the UI. Add field, you put a data relationship. Okay, but it will not use database as a reference. It will create one property, single page property in the work layer, and then it will map like this similar configuration will be done. Section is already created, right? Not needed. Okay, so this property is already there, not needed to be open. Yes, so here this is what we created. Submit. Okay, so now you see the section is rendered here. As I'm getting this data, okay, from the DB, so I don't want the customer directly to update here for XYZ reason. Okay, could be a requirement, anything. I want to mark this section as read only. So whenever we embed section, right? So this is an embedded section, getting called from somewhere else. So we can open this setting, right? And then presentation, we can directly mark it read only always. Okay, so now what will happen? It will show the content here as a read only for this embedded section. Okay. Now, suppose for this customer, I want to give only one option, that is to update the phone number. He cannot update anything. To update address, he has to contact, suppose, the bank directly, anything. So I will give one, I'm giving one property basically here. Let's say updated customer phone. Okay, I'll create this property quickly. So nowadays phone number could have +91 this thing. So I'm just keeping text just to be on the safer side. If I make it integer, it will not take plus as a symbol, right? And if I want to put other character as well, that's also. So that is why currently I'm putting it as a text. Right. Coming back to the UI, added this. Okay, I'm taking as a text input, and let's give some beautiful label. Please provide updated phone number. And not like this. Okay, submit. Right, save. Check in for now. Save is actually fine. Anyhow, work in progress. Right, this section I've added. Let's try to create one case. So we'll click here. Quickly, let's close everything. Okay, guys. So we should be having one flow. Or on the second stage, we have some UI. First stage, you are directly skipping. Nothing is there. Slowness is there, right? You guys also face, slowness on the environment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Same.
What actually happened? Session lost. Just bear with me, guys. I don't know why this much slowness. Right. Let's try to create one.
Sir, switch the application.
I think I created in this context only. Oh no, not yet. Okay, which one was it? My first app, right? Case type. Yes, here it is, right? So let's create one case. Update customer record. Let's see like what we have built so far. Okay, so now, okay, initialize stage is already completed, right? Because I did not put anything here directly on the second stage, and we have this drop down, and currently it is displaying like this. So if I suppose say XYZ, data is coming. So why did not came on the first one? Because I have configured it like that. Whenever this changes, only then refresh the section, right? See, now data is coming, right? Whenever I'm changing it, it is getting the current data. So first of all, like these drop downs should always have this placeholders as a best practice, because otherwise it seems like ABC is already selected, right? And which is not the case. Let's add one placeholder first here quickly. Add one placeholder. Let's take it some default. Select. Let's refresh. I have already selected something, right? Let's figure a new one actually. So see, now it is select, right? And if I select ABC, data is getting created. XYZ, it is getting created. MNO. Now, as per the requirement, so suppose ABC is selecting, or there is some phone number, or currently there is no phone number. Okay. So I want to give a feature to maybe this customer support guy or anyone. So he can basically firstly view this detail. He will cross verify some questions like, could you please verify your address? He will talk it out over the phone. He will check, like, okay, he's the valid guy, or maybe something else. Could be any process, could be anything. But I want to give him some option. If you put here some number, right, and he submits. So now this should be updated. This should be updated basically for this customer ABC. I want to update his phone number, and not only for this case, not only for this U2, because earlier configuration, whatever we were doing, we were just getting the data onloaded to the case and processing the case, not committing back. Now this data, whatever I'm putting here, it should go now to DB. Okay. And whenever, if I create one more case and select ABC, it should get me this phone number as well, the updated phone number basically. Okay. So currently if I show you, so without any configuration, it has gone forward. Nothing happened actually, because if we check our local storage, it was this one, right? So if I see here, records, right? So nothing is getting updated here because there's no logic. So to do that, we will use data page plus one utility shape. So I'll open the case type. Okay. So on the flow level, or you can say smart shape, we have one shape. Okay. If I click here, I search for save. It will give me save data page automation. So I have to click here. I have to select it. Okay. So it is added, and I want to say save customer record. I can write anything. So let's quickly go through what are the settings available. So whenever we select, we have to give one data page name here, and ideally it should be data page of data page having configuration as savable. Okay. Then whatever content will be there on this data page, it will be committed back to DB. All right. So let's take that data page, D underscore customer record. Is this the one? Oh no, savable should be. It should be this one, right? I want to use this one. And as an ID, how to get this ID? So I'm capturing this ID on which property? This property, right? So at workflow level, I've created this property. So this property will be having that ID as a key. So I can pass this ID as a key. Okay. Save. Now, is the configuration available? No. Why? Because I have not yet updated the contents of the data page. So what do I mean by that? Let me show you. So data page, how data page will behave, whenever I reference it, suppose I'm referencing it here. Okay, so Pega will see, oh, it is referenced. I have to get the data. It will go for the source tab from where it has to source in which structure it has to put in, scope and everything. So Pega will get the data, it will load the data and it will put the page on the clipboard, okay, with the appropriate scope level. Okay. For this specific customer savable data pages, now whenever this utility will be called in the case lifecycle, right, Pega will commit the contents of this page back to DB, right? So currently, if you open this, okay, this page, currently we are just getting record here. Okay, we are just getting record here. So if I pass one, it will get me one record. I mean the whole row basically, and then I'm just directly calling this activity utility shape. So it will directly commit back. Now you see whatever I fetch from the database, this record one as a customer record, I did not manipulate it. I did not change any data in it, and then directly committed back. So no change. I will not see any change. So it is as good as select star from customer table where customer ID is equal to 1, and then again updating the same thing to the database. Manipulation also we have to do data manipulation. I can do this data manipulation in many places. In the case lifecycle, you can update this thing into data transform, anything. But whenever you commit back this data page, it should be updated with the values that you actually want to keep it. So for this exercise or this configuration, I want to keep it simple for now. Okay, so for now here, response data transform is there, right? So which is basically when this data will be loaded, then call this data transform to do some manipulation. Update data transform. Okay, then this data will be manipulated and then it is put on the clipboard. Okay, so everything is like before sourcing the data. Okay, so let's create it. So now it is creating one data transform rule. Okay, I don't want to use the development branch. Normal layer, app layer. This is the class by default, customer class. Right, some by default settings are there. I do not want to keep it for now. We will discuss these later. Right, so here now, if you see, if I put dot, so it will directly take reference from this class. Right, so I can put primary dot. Primary dot, I want to update this phone number. Right, now update this phone number from where? Right, from the case. Now this is data layer. This is not work layer, right? So I have to explicitly mention you have to get the data from the work page dot. There will be some data here. Okay, let's create one more. Which property actually was it? Okay, so now this is work layer. Okay, this is case setting, right? Everything is PY work page, and on the PY work page, which property will be having updated phone number? This property. Okay, so I can do this thing. Okay, close the live UI. Go here. So now I have mentioned double dots. Update this phone number with this property basically, PI work page dot this. And just to use this reference, we have to mention like this page here as well, and mention the class as well. So I can open this U work item. I can directly click on the work page. So now we are practicing these debugging tools as well, right? We just saw the live UI, and then we are to check the class for the work page. We have to click the work page, and we have to search for the property obj class, basically px obj class. So this is the class for the work item that I need to mention here. Okay. So now we have work page of this class that will be used to get the data and paste it to this variable. Copy data to this variable from this. Okay, it is as good as where x is equal to y, right? Save. Data transform is saved. Save, and we have to do check-in. Work in progress, anything. So now what this configuration basically says is, whenever this is referenced, okay, do a lookup on this table from a primary key, get the data. After that, perform some manipulation, go to this data transform and copy this property, basically the work page property, to the phone property. Now this phone property basically is updated on this page, right? I have just copied it from the work page. Now whenever that shape will be triggered, it will update that content. So I'm already updating that phone number here, right, from the work. Okay, not many things. Fine. Let's try to create one case and see like if things go well or no. Okay, so I want to try to update ABC. There's phone number. I want to keep 0512345678. This number. Submit. Right? Something happened. I don't know. Not sure. Let's see the data type. For that, we need to check the data type. If we see, we go to the, oh my God. Did we save the case lifecycle or what? Did I mistakenly didn't typo? Let's see. Let's check. Let's debug. Okay, now configuration is all good. Now we have to see like why it is not saving. But the configurations are all good. Maybe I did some typo or something. First of all, let me check in everything. Okay, start checking in. Everything is checked in. Let's see. Where did we went wrong? You see, phone number got updated. Maybe some rule was not saved properly or something. So I checked in everything and then we tested. So now without any change, the phone number is getting updated in the DB as well. Okay. So now if suppose he calls again, okay, the same customer calls again, I want to update my phone number again. And if I select ABC, we will have the phone number here. Understood, guys? I mean, very useful thing and very handy thing. And now the most important part here is that I missed here is this data save option, okay, that we configured on this data page. This, I will take it here. Okay, so this specific setting, this database save can be only used with page that I already told you, right? If I make it list, this option cannot be used. Okay. And this database save can be used only once per record. Okay, it cannot update a list property. We already discussed, right? It will page structure only one row at a time. And the biggest advantage of using this sort of configuration, savable data page with utility, save utility, right? Save data page utility is Pega is having transaction, right? So sometime there's error and we will not move forward. Case will be routed back to the previous assignment. right? So those transaction handling that Pega is currently using in its workflow, right, to handle workflow, that will be enabled for these sort of records as well. So when we have error, right, then this data will not be committed. So if it is going forward properly, only then this data will be committed. So you don't have to worry about the transaction part, right? Like suppose like there's error on the assignment, but this data got updated in the database. That will never happen. I mean, if the assignment is processed properly, then only this commit will be happening. That is the biggest advantage using database save option. Okay. So now I have, you can go through the PDN topic, savable data page. Okay. After that, let me stop recording.